Hello, listeners. Welcome to Rabbit Troop Sucks. This is going to start us on an adventure of us listening to Halloween, but Hollywood focused or not, films for the upcoming weeks. It's going to be October. We're in it. We're in the thick of it. It's fall. It's going to be October. You pop on a hoodie, you watch one of these weird movies, and today we're going to start our Halloween adventure with Spookies. Spookies from 1986, where a bunch of directors and people got together and made a film.
Yeah, sometimes they weren't together making the film. It's just a lot of people making a couple films that is now one film. Maybe it's kind of one film. But hi, I'm Mike, and this is Paul.
Yeah, I did introduce us. We're back to basics.
We're back, and yeah, it's fall. We're excited. The leaves are changing, our bodies are changing, and our attitudes are changing.
And like this film, directors are changing.
And directors are changing. The cast is changing.
Cast is there. It's not there.
The screenplay is changing. It's a time of transition.
Do you like choose your own adventures? You just watch Spookies.
But no one's choosing, and just things are happening.
And this is one of those misprints where you never get past page 32. All roads lead to dead ends.
Right, until you jump out of a door.
So we will get to jumping out of a door in this. Mike, how would you describe, I'll read the summary, I'll load it up here in a second, but how would you describe what we've read about Spookies? What the mystery behind this movie actually is?
So this movie started out as a movie called, what was the movie called?
It was Twisted Souls.
Twisted Souls. That was the original intent of this movie.
And now I noticed that was the title of the production company now.
Yeah. So they kept it around somewhere. Twisted Souls was the movie, and it was filmed with various actors by a director. And then that movie didn't really make it. They didn't release it. For some reason, I'm sure Paul will explain in the trivia, but then someone was like, you know what, we're not quitting this. Let's get different actors and just film a bunch of stuff and mix it all together and release it as a movie called Spookies.
It was spooky.
Yeah, it was.
So according to IMDb, this is the synopsis of the film. A wicked sorcerer tries to sacrifice a group of people inside his house with the intention of using their vitality to keep his wife alive. We're going to come back to that idea about his wife really quick. But there's a second, clearly these are all user-submitted summaries and trivias that we tend to read. But here's the second summary, which I feel is a little different and not very accurate. Maybe piece them all together and maybe we have Spookies. After taking a wrong turn, travelers, let's say a-holes, in multiple cars, travelers find themselves trapped inside a mysterious house. That's questionable. They walk right in the front door. They talk about that pretty directly. Summary continuing. One horror after another threatens them as the flatulent sorcerer, which, not the sorcerer, the other characters, who lives within needs sacrifices to give eternal life to his beautiful bride. Beautiful, sure. His bride, super questionable. Whether or not the bride was as gassy as he remains ambiguous.
There's a lot of allusions to fart stuff there.
And I don't, that's just the rantings of someone who watched Spookies. I would say a mad person, but that wouldn't really be polite or give credit to the person who saw it. They probably had several drinks. They're like, what happened? I don't know.
I have had several drinks, and I do not know what happened. Also, was a sorcerer, was that ever mentioned in the movie at all?
So we're going to get to a bunch of people that get to one way or another a mansion. I kind of like the backstory of this, where it's...
Do you?
Well, at the very loosest of senses, I like the idea that a bunch of people are being drawn to this mansion, like one way or another. Like if someone just kind of sold me on that, like there's a child, like there is, and it's a kid who has a 13th birthday. There's a group of people going to a party, and there's a couple cars, and I think there's some other people that wander in. Like how they got there, I'm kind of in. It's kind of like a serious game of Clue. The execution of any of that is not there whatsoever. But just like the idea, like everyone was drawn to this weirdo mansion. What's going on? I'm like, all right, like this is kind of like a 1920s, like maybe like the House on Haunted Hill throwback or something like that. I like that idea. Everything that follows is is the studio falling apart.
I mean, I think yes. I think yes, it is. I don't know that I can concede that I understood that people were drawn to the house. I thought people were intentionally trying to get to the house for reasons that were not explained.
Yeah, I mean, so
Also, why the fuck was the kid there?
I was just gonna say, I know basically two people's names throughout all of this. There's Billy, and it was easy to remember because he's the kid, so Billy the kid. And then there's Duke, because they talk about Duke every 5 minutes. Duke's keeping you secure. Duke won't let you down. Duke's a bro of a guy. But yeah, so this kid is there, and I mean, eventually we kind of find out, and we could skip around, but he's being drawn to the mansion. And I kind of like this idea. That's why I was like, I'm kind of intrigued. And Mike and I have seen this movie ages ago. And I didn't really remember this part, probably because it's good. Like, this is like, there's like a smattering of good parts for me. I'm like, why is this kid going there, etc. He eventually even encounters this weirdo in the woods that we'll talk about. And that guy's like, you should get out of here. And we'll get to that scene here in a second or a couple of minutes. But that he's like, no, I've got plans. And I thought like that, I was like, do I not remember something? Like, is there like a big turnaround? Is there a twist at the end of the film? There is not. I don't know what his plans were. This is one of the many things that I know Mike's like, this movie is terrible.
You keep using the word good. That is not.
It's really, so we're 3 minutes into this film, and so far, so good for me. So I would say by about minute 7, things start dissolving in acid like things will in this film.
Well, okay, so you say we're 3 minutes into this movie. So the movie starts with a kid walking through a forest. And
yeah, it's light to begin with, right? Like maybe
I don't know, maybe. And like he's walking along, and then he encounters a dude sitting in a tree who says, "Hey kid, give an old man a light." And the kid gives him a lighter because the kid has a lighter, of course. And he's not an old man. He's just like a guy, unless he just looks like shit.
Well, there's also this werewolf creature stalking around.
Yeah, there's a werewolf creature.
I later call him Nightcrawler because I don't know if he's a Nightcrawler or one of the dancing monkeys in Wizard of Oz.
No one knows what this thing is.
But like this thing is kind of stalking him, and you see him, and I thought it was very blatant. But yeah, then we get to this guy, and at first I thought, oh, this is the transformation from like werewolf to this guy's human form. I thought it was a little bit of a trick.
But it wasn't. Then the werewolf killed the guy.
Well, yeah, the guy's like, hey, kid, you got a light for an old man? And the guy, or the kid does, has like some Zippo lighter.
He also lights it and then hands it to him, which you don't do that.
Yeah, like, hey, man, give me back the lighter. Like, what's going on?
That's not how you get
like, why did I have this lighter? Don't worry about it. Give it back. So that guy pockets that. Well, maybe that's the karmic debt he has and he gets slaughtered. But he's like, yeah, man, yeah, kid, you got to get out of here. He's like, aha, I've got my own plans. And I really thought there was going to be some kind of twist that this kid was, I don't know, the soul of an old man. This kid was actually the real werewolf. Like, I don't know. And Mike is right. Nothing comes of this. And
that guy is killed?
Yeah, the kid basically walks off and you see the werewolf again and it pounces out and you think it's going for the kid. Twist. And then I think a scene happens and inconsequential, and then we bounce back. The kid's walking away, and we see this guy who was smoking as a scratch, just gash across this, like a fatal wound across the face.
He has been mauled.
Yeah, he's been mauled, which looks like by like a mountain lion. He's dead. He is clearly not the werewolf, and that thing stalks off into the woods.
Right,
as you do.
So I'm going to follow, rather than cutting back and forth, because like the movie bounces back and forth between a couple things. Let's just follow the kid's trajectory here, and then we can talk about the dudes in the cars.
The one thing I wanted to note before we get to the kid, because I made a note to Mike, and he saw me looking around this room. My wife and I have this board game called Betrayal at House on the Hill. And that's why I like this movie for, honestly, the first 5 to 7 minutes. That the premise of this board game is all these people, kids, adults, various other people are called to this like haunted house. and sooner or later weird things happen. And if anyone's played this board game, sooner or later, one of the members of the group that you were playing with turns out to be the bad guy, and you pull this card. And I thought maybe this was kind of the basis of it. Like, I really like, again, the idea of people being drawn to this house. And yeah, Mike is right. Like, I was like, yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm really narrating this into 5 to 7 minutes tops. Just like this weirdo kind of campy. And maybe it's just because it's very 80s background and kind of setting for me. Like, it's kind of light. Maybe it's not. Woods, various other things. Light play, like very practical special effects. I again love the 80s films, but yeah, it quickly goes away. I mean, I'm not going to sing its praises going,
Yeah, I was gonna
going
say,
further.
you're really selling this as something that isn't
I just
objectively terrible.
It was just really,
and it is awful.
It was really the seed of this idea was,
Okay.
sky's the limit. Like, you could have had fun with this, but
But they did not. No one did. No one's having fun with this.
And then there's what we have.
Yeah. Yeah, so the kid, he wanders through the forest. He's being pursued by whatever, the extra from the Thriller video.
I know Thriller throughout all of this, man.
Right.
They really watched that numerous times, and that was everyone's view of zombies. There's so many weird mummies and zombie mummies. I don't know what's going on, but it's totally based on Thriller.
So the kid comes up to this like plantation mansion thing, and he goes inside, and it's like set up for a birthday. There's like half inflated balloons that look really sad. There's a cake that says "Happy Birthday, Billy." He's like, "My name's Billy. It's a party for me." And so many questions. Like, why is this kid in the woods? Why did he go into this goddamn house? Where are his fucking parents? Like, what on earth is happening? And he's having like dialogue with nobody. He's like, "Oh, these my presents? They must be my presents." He smells one of them for some reason. He's like cutting the cake. He blows out the candles. The candles reignite for some reason.
And he's weirdly amused and kind of taken aback at the same time. Mike, I could actually now, I forgot we were leading up to the scene. I could 100% define why I like the first 7 minutes of this film.
Okay.
Everything to do with Billy, this kid. It is one step away from, I'm going to say this very proud, one of my all-time favorite shows. I don't care how old anyone is. Are You Afraid of the Dark? By Nickelodeon. Have you ever watched an episode of this? You have not?
I mean, maybe, yeah.
So Are You Afraid of the Dark was part of Nick at Night, and
Is it like an R.L. Stine thing?
I felt many steps better. Which was great is when I first watched it, that was my introduction to the adventures of Pete and Pete, even slightly outside of my age frame, which more like who was being advertised to. And Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it was actually my mom who introduced me to Are You Afraid of the Dark? And she said, I think you're really going to like this show. It's very Twilight Zone-y, or however she phrased it. And my mom was always a good sport about those kind of R.L. Stine shows. But R.L. Stine, I always feel like had this kind of layer of cheesiness. This, I feel, was more reminiscent because you're like, oh my God, like there's like demons outside. Are You Afraid of the Dark was very much not afraid to scare kids. There are notable famous people on the show. I will totally do a small episode anytime that we can maybe find like a really weird one or one that maybe like really scared kids, myself included. But that show, I think it was filmed in Canada. I think there was like Canadian sensibilities where it was like, we could tell like a really scary like episode. Like we're good at writing. We don't need to hold back. And then eventually it caught on here and then people were freaked out. But I love everything to do with this kid up until a point. Like 90% of this kid's story, I'm like, what the hell is going on? I also thought he was going to be the twist. Like I don't know, like stroking the ego of these weird ghosts. Like I'm here, I'm happy, yay, I'm cutting this cake. And I was like, are you just tricking these things? And Mike is going to lead us to a very now quick, disappointing no.
Yeah.
Now it's just over. Like once the kid like leaves the house for whatever reason, now the maybe 6.5 minutes into this movie is 100% done for me. The affinity that I just gushed over that I think is really alarming, Mike.
Okay, so we can stop pretending that this movie's good and get on with how shitty this whole thing is.
Just that.
Okay,
just that.
thank
Like
God.
I'm like, that was such a reminiscent thing of something I love. Now it's over.
Yeah, this movie wasn't reminiscent for anything of me other than a big piece of shit.
Well, also, like everything I just loved, Mike can narrate what happens to Billy immediately now and never comes back. Mike could tell you right now because I'm like, well, this is not Are You Afraid of the Dark? And then this movie's over.
So yeah, Billy opens one of the presents, and it's a head, and the head's like, "Hello, Billy," it's like the Big Bopper or something for some reason, and yeah, that
Then he just like runs
yeah,
outside.
he cheeses it. He runs into the woods. He gets caught up by the thriller werewolf thing. It like mauls him a little bit and then buries him alive.
Yeah, the last note of positivity I'm going to give is I did like kind of like this. Billy's looking back, and you see this kind of slash kind of scene, like because like this kid is like, or this werewolf child is coming out of the underbrush and slash. Then
Don't worry, we're gonna see Billy again though.
sort of,
Well, he's there.
but yeah, then he's thrown into a 6-foot grave and buried alive and then dead. Like he just stops fighting after a while. You think he
Yeah.
suffocates, and you don't overall see Billy for the rest of the movie overall. But yeah, again, the gushing I had was, I'm curious about all this. This is kind of cool. Very, are you afraid of the dark? Now we're done. And now is just a bunch of jackasses.
Okay.
Everyone in this film is jackass.
So now we can get on to the meat of this movie, which is it sucking and not being reminiscent of anything good. Okay, so like back and forth through the Billy scenes, we are cutting back and forth to people driving in cars. There are two cars full of a rotating cast of people. As we mentioned, this movie was filmed twice with different casts.
Yeah, you know, as Mike and I sometimes watch these films, we take a couple notes, we take a couple breaks, you know, potty breaks, use the, you know, get a drink, whatever. And Mike and I we usually cut the chatter a lot in between this, but we say things on the side. But sometimes I ask questions, and I was like, Mike, how many people are left or how many people were in the car, or various other things? Mike and I questioned the numbers immediately, and then later Mike said something. I was like, I'm really like I literally note in one of my notes, I'm really glad Mike questioned this too. I have no idea how many people. Are in
No
this
one
film.
knows because the people in the cars, you know, they're arguing. The car in front's kind of going fast. The people in the car in back are like, we don't know where we're going. We have to keep up. But, you know, it's like, it's one of those things.
I'm also under the impression that one of these people is someone's father the entirety of this film.
I thought one of the cars was like the parents and the other
Yes.
car was the kids, but I think these people were all meant to be peers.
Yes, it is 100% noted later that they are all supposed to be the same age. There is someone in the group that is clearly 25 years older. And we've talked about ages and going through decades before on this. And it's not pointing out to be mean, but like sometimes you look at a movie and you're like, wow, that person was 25 in 1982. They look like they're 45 in 2022 plus standards.
Yeah.
You're like, wow. So in this situation, it looks like most of the people in both these cars, I would say, are anywhere from maybe super young, 20, maybe someone's 20, but probably like mid 20s to maybe late 20s, and then someone's 45 years old. It's like just like what I don't know. Like, you're not.
No, none of this is
What's
explained. They're driving through the woods. We don't know where they're going, but they're trying to get somewhere together.
Yeah, there is a drunk dude who I later note who
The guy with the puppet?
Yeah, who was wearing a shirt of him
With
holding
the
that
puppet.
puppet. It is noted that he was mouthing off at a party, and he knows with the puppet that the driver, I think it's Duke was
yeah.
mouthing off at a party. It got them all kicked out, and now they're going somewhere else. And I think they're trying to find another party.
And they were going to another party. Did you catch the puppet's name?
No.
I think it was Mook.
Oh my
Duke,
God.
Duke, and Mook.
Oh my God.
I know.
Yeah, but that makes sense why Duke is immediately triggered when the puppet comes out.
Like this guy in the puppet, it's like Job and Franklin. Like no,
Hey, Franklin. Oh, man, that's great. I love Franklin. Oh, man.
that is every interaction because everyone else is like, oh great, it's the puppet again. That's cool.
Yeah, Duke is immediately triggered. Yeah, so like a Michael Bloom reaction, like this guttural, I need to get the hell out of here, kind of instinctive, fleeting, many adjectives I'm throwing at this, like all highlighting escape and anger at the same time. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Rabbit Troop Sucks discriminates against anyone.
But we could start if we need.
I mean, clearly, like, we're like never, as I'm laughing saying this, never against ethnicity or gender or how someone perceives themselves. But maybe with activities we do. If you're into puppetry and you're not really good at it, this podcast isn't for you.
There's only one kind of acceptable puppetry.
What kind? What kind?
Poetry of the penis.
Wow. This has been.
We'll
brought
put a
to you
link
by-
on the website.
Mike is starting a master class, and you could join for for just dollars or pennies a day. You too could be part of this master class.
There's a series of videos. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a subscription service.
Right.
Episode 3 is free.
Yeah. So this random assembly of people, they're driving along. There's a tree in the way. They get out to move the tree, and they're all arguing about fucking something. They resolve the tree thing.
Yeah, so let's go back to the tree thing.
Yeah, okay.
I forgot. I was like, what tree thing? Yeah. So Duke is driving a car. Someone else is driving another car. I don't remember who's driving. At one point in time, I told Mike, I was like, weren't the drivers and passengers switched?
I think that might be correct.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. And they stop, and he's like, oh, come on. And I guess a tree, like a huge tree, has fallen in front of them in the road. And I don't know if it was actually done in front of them, but they at least see it as they're driving. But I love that the car behind them is super pissed off about this. Like, what are you doing? Like, didn't you see that? And like, dude, this is like a huge tree. Several people lifted up to get out of the way, but the guy in the back car is just so angry.
He's really put off.
At Duke the driver. I'm going to tell you this. If there's any redeemable moment in this movie for me, this character Duke, who I have listed as parachute jumpsuit, and it's a reference to the parachute bodysuit, parachute pants, parachute jacket, which is just all black and white cords that I think he's wearing. He kind of turns around for me a little bit. Not that this movie is ever good again, but he does a couple things that I'm like, Duke, I want you to get out of this. He does not.
No. Well, he might. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's possible.
It's spooky like that.
It is.
This movie, Spookies, has been brought to you by Spookies.
Duke is wearing, like, in my notes, I refer to him as Devastating Dave, and I don't know if that resonates for anybody, but he's the turntable slave.
I don't know what.
Do you know what I'm talking
means.
about at all? So while I talk about this, I'm gonna try to find a picture to show Paul. And listeners at home, look up Devastating Dave, the turntable slave, because
I do hashtags for our posts, these are the things you need to remind me.
That's
of.
fine. If Devastating Dave wants to be our fan, that is absolutely fine with
Could he be
me.
a guest?
I don't know that we want him in the room with us.
Could he be a remote guest?
Yeah, we can zoom him in.
Fantastic.
Because this is what Duke is dressed like. Oh my God. I have to accept cookies for every fucking website.
This has not been brought to you by Cookies, the edible ones.
So Duke is wearing like a vinyl hip hop outfit with like yellow stripes. And I'm going to show this picture to Paul.
Oh,
now.
no. Zip Zap Rap.
Zip Zap Rap is the album by Devastating Dave, the Turntable Slave.
No.
Paul's upset about this. But
Yeah,
yeah,
send me that link. I wonder if my brother knows who this. My brother has to know.
no, they're friends. They hang out probably.
Hashtag my brother. What's happening? Do you know him?
Yeah, no, he
Do you have a
does.
restraining order?
Yeah. I can't even. So yeah, I don't even know what's going on. They get to the house. They drive to the house, and they get out, and everyone's out of the car, and they're looking at the house. And I want to say we counted that there were 7 people standing outside of the cars.
I thought there was 4 in each car at one point in time.
Okay.
Like I honestly thought there was always 2 in the front seat, 2 in the back seat for each car.
I thought-
Mike totally could be correct.
I thought T-shirt guy was sitting in the back by himself with the puppet.
Oh, so maybe just like I look up and I look down. Maybe you're right that it was the puppet that I saw just like off the side.
I genuinely don't
I
know.
thought that person was sitting next to someone though. So.
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, regardless of whether
Rabbit
there
Troop
were,
Sucks listeners, if anyone ever wants to look this up, how many people were in the car of Spookies?
regardless if there are 7 or 8 people in the car, there are, once we get into the house, which we'll get to in a second, there are at least 10 people.
Too many people.
Too many people.
Too many puppies.
Oh, is that a Primus throwback from whatever that episode was with fucking Primus?
Still too many puppies.
What movie was that? Jesus.
was it was?
We're good at this. This is high
wasn't-
quality radio.
It wasn't Phantoms, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Was it Highway
Phantoms.
to Hell?
No, it was the one with the Terminator 2 kid.
It was Brain Scan.
It was Brain Scan.
One of our most recent episodes.
One of the this just happened. Yeah, Brain Scan. The trickster was listening to Primus.
It's too many puppies.
Also, side note, it was brought to my attention by someone that I have known for a very long time. I mentioned in the podcast that I had not seen Brain Scan, and I genuinely don't remember seeing Brain Scan. This person was like, dude, we watched Brain Scan together.
Chris?
Yeah, Chris. Chris pointed out. So I drink a lot, obviously. I've had a few concussions. My memory maybe isn't the greatest, but I guess I have to fact check things with Chris now. Just to make sure that I'm telling
Oh
the
yeah,
truth.
like hashtag like Chris like following up on research. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he listened to the episode and he texted me immediately. It was like, bro, we watched this fucking movie together.
That's fantastic.
Great. Yeah, so anyway, they pull up to the house. Everyone gets out of the car, regardless of how many people it may be. And they're, again, just, this movie is basically an hour and 20 minutes of these 7 to 10 people arguing over various things.
I mean, again, like I know we're like elongating a little bit how long it gets there. Like once we get in the house, Mike is correct. It's forever and always. Like really, it's like the first 10 minutes that gets us there. I mean, Mike, again, this is kind of my Double Dragon moment. I don't disagree with you that Double Dragon is not a good film, but in comparison, like society has deemed Double Dragon a 3.5 versus some of the films we have. I was like, that I don't agree with. Would you at least say like you're intrigued, just you as a viewer, for the first 7 minutes? Like you've never seen this, you're like, okay, like maybe what's going on?
But that's the difference between this and Double Dragon for me. Is this movie, I was intrigued. This is a much worse movie than Double Dragon. But I was intrigued. Double Dragon was not intrigued. Double Dragon just fucking sucked. Like, there was nothing intriguing about it. This movie, I want to know what the fuck is going on because it's nothing and everything all at once.
This movie does have less goo, which is surprising, than Double Dragon. So there's way more goo in Double Dragon. Way more goo.
But there's more farting in this movie.
But it's not the sorcerer. I don't know what's going on.
No one knows what's going on.
This movie's crazy.
So yeah, they're arguing like should we go in? Whose house is that? Like they drove here, but they don't know whose house it is.
Yeah. So one woman who I just wrote as Witch Girl gets out.
Wait, which one's which girl?
I think her name's Carol later on.
I don't know anyone's name.
She starts.
Is it Tits, Sweater Vest, the British one?
Wow. So I have way different monikers for these people.
But we can put it together, right?
So I wrote, Carol is very susceptible to the supernatural. Like out of the gate, she's like, this house may or may not want us. And they're like, no one lives here. She's like, oh, no one lives here. We could always go in. Like immediately you're like,
is she the one that dies immediately?
Yo, she turns into a witch.
That's
like,
the witch. Okay,
she's
yeah,
working like the Ouija board later. Yeah. So like I have her as Witch Girl because immediately I'm like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, why are you talking like this omniscient overlord? Like, no, not cool. Like, no, we will go in and everyone will die and love it. Like, what?
Oh yeah, I have this in my notes, but I didn't understand. She's the one that I think she said, does someone live here? And then we cut to the sorcerer and he just says, someone does live here forever.
Yeah, this guy is not holding back on what's going to happen. So again, maybe these are always like little like wisps of good ideas. I do like that immediately Carol turns, we'll get to it, but they basically find a Ouija board of sorts.
They decide to go into the house and then they just start snooping around. Because again, like they thought they were going to a party, but I mean, clearly
they're going into a closed down mansion.
But they just go into this house, like T-shirt guy with the puppet.
Buyer beware.
He is like loading up crates of beer out of the car to bring in.
Oh yeah,
they set up like a fucking snack table.
Puppet guy?
Yeah, they've got like beers and Cheetos.
It's all really for Puppet Guy. He sets all that up for Puppet Guy.
He brought that for himself. That's not to share.
Yeah, but then they find this Ouija board. It's like just made up of shapes. It's not a Ouija board that anyone's seen.
Well, no. First they find the planchette like in a box.
Oh yeah.
And then they're like, what is it? They think it's like a medallion or something. They don't really know what it is. Then they're just like chilling out in the main room and there's a door that is locked. And for some reason, Duke
parachute jumpsuit
is like, I got to get in this door that's locked.
Yeah.
And like
he's
punching it. He's trying to open. He slams. He like shatters a chair onto it as one does to try to open a door. And everyone's like, dude, if the door's locked, like who fucking cool it. But then the door opens and like a zombie falls out of it.
Yeah. And then he immediately says, this ain't no real zombie. Like,
right. Look at it.
Like a
touch
Hollywood
it.
prop. Yeah.
And then someone's like, there's something on its arm. And the something on its arm turns out to be like a 3 foot by 3 foot piece of fucking wood. that is the Ouija board.
Yeah. So they unfold it, and
yeah.
and I think her name's Carol. This is what I listed as Witch Girl. She immediately is very susceptible to this. Like, I know how to play this. I know how, like, the inner workings of this weird diagram Ouija board.
They realized,
I'm now talking in weird voices.
They realized that the thing they found earlier was the other piece. The thing you hold in your hand. And then they start using it. But it doesn't look like a real Ouija board. It looks, I don't know. It's like a fake one. But
I also told Mike on the side, we get a lot of hard pans back to this guy who's like lording over the manor. And I listed, so Mike is often noted, I'm the king of not remembering characters' names. I have no idea if this character even ever has a name. But in my heart, he's listed as Mansion Creep all throughout my notes. MC or Mansion Creep. Mansion Creep is mincing around. Mansion Creep is walking around. Mansion Creep has a real weird relationship with Nightcrawler, the dancing monkey. He's kind of his dog pet. Sometimes they play chess together. Sometimes he talks to him. It's too affectionate. It's super gross. I'm not down with Mansion Creep.
No.
There's only one person that I want to survive in this entire movie who has not, I think, been seen yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I follow. So yeah, they decide to use the Ouija board, and like it tells them someone's age, and she's 24, but she looks like 78.
Yeah, Mansion Creep is pulling the strings.
Right, yeah, he's the puppet master here.
Like, how old is like Duke? 24.
25. And it's like, will Duke and I's relationship last a month? No.
I like that. That was a real like
dick move.
Yeah, there's like many levels to that. Like, not tonight.
Like, are we gonna go home tonight? No. Like, when are we gonna leave? Never.
Mansion Creep is such an ass.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there like cackling to himself. He's like, the weird little thriller zombie is sitting next to him like a fucking dog, and he's patting it on the head.
Yeah, he is just, so hear me out. So it's kind of blue purplish, like imagine again Nightcrawler and one of the enchanted monkeys in Wizard of Oz, the dancing monkeys.
Yeah.
But really the cherry on top for me is just the solid gold vest that this thing is wearing.
Yeah. He's wearing like Aladdin's vest for some reason.
Yeah, it's like if Apu was 5'7" and just a solid gold dancer, then you've got this creature mincing around all throughout this movie. And sometimes he does stuff, and sometimes he's just a real looky-loo. He's lurking around everyone.
Yeah, he is. So after we realize that no one's going home per the Ouija board, this woman turns into a zombie.
Yeah, so again, a wisp of a good idea. I like this. I almost feel this is like an homage to Evil Dead. Like, hey, I know what this book, boom, Deadite. Like,
yeah.
I'm like,
all right. No, it is kind of like that.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, like this movie's kicking off real hardcore. Like, this person touched a book and it was immediate. Again, these are dead ideas that go nowhere. And now I guess I really don't have any. Well, there is something that happens that I've thought of almost every day for the rest of my life. There is one thing that redeems this movie in so many levels for me, and we'll get there. And Mike, I know, is going to agree just for one scene. But yeah, like I keep saying like, oh, there's nothing less. But again, it's kind of aggravating because there's like a lot of good wispy ideas. But yeah, this movie is not for many people.
Don't trick the listeners into thinking anything else.
We'll tell you.
Yeah. So this chick who she turns into like a weird witch zombie thing. Everyone freaks the fuck out and they just run out of the house. And this is the last time that anyone successfully gets out of the house, which they will spend the rest of the movie attempting to do because they do go back in. But a guy...
Wait, Mike, how many people do you think got out of the house in this movie?
I don't know.
Is
it one?
I also... Well, there's at least a couple.
Right.
So there's at least a couple. But then there's another person, and I don't know if that was the male of the couple. I don't know if it's the same person. There might be 5 other people. I don't know.
So presumably, there a guy. This scene focuses on one guy who we see running out of the house, and he just fucking trips for some reason, and he falls into like kind of an open grave, and this gravestone pops up, and his name appears. We don't know what his fucking name is, but a name appears on the gravestone, and is
You just got Charles Dickens.
and we infer that it is his, and he is just buried. I don't think I've seen this person before this moment, and you do not see him again.
Yes, that is correct.
I am understanding that it's probably the male partner to the person that got turned into the zombie by the Ouija board, but that is never explained. I don't know that we saw these people in the car. They aren't any of the main couples that are arguing throughout the movie. These are like the wild card people.
Hear me out, and I don't care if this movie gets unraveled and spoiled along the way.
There's no possible way that
Well,
could
also,
happen.
we clearly just know the movies we're watching. I would assume that people, you come as you are, like you accept it, or you want spoilers or not. But Mike, this guy might be at the end because there's a moment where someone's driving a car, and I'm like, who the hell is that? Is this because you find out it's not really that person?
It's not really.
But I'm like, is it that person?
I didn't think it was just like some random.
I don't know.
No one knows.
Like, I totally
yeah,
agree. Like, that's why I was like, how many people left? I thought a woman who left too, and I thought there was
no
a
one
couple.
knows.
I don't know.
Like, I genuinely don't. Like I said, I mean, so we are now down to 7 characters, 3 couples. We have Duke and his.
It's really funny because I wrote 6. I wrote there's 6 people back. Well, I wrote 5 or 6.
Well, there's Duke and his girlfriend.
Yes.
There's members only jacket guy and the British girl.
Yes.
There is sport coat guy and sweater vest girl.
Yes.
And there is
Drunkie. So
and there is
7.
puppet
Oh,
guy.
Yeah.
So there's 7 people. So these are the only 7 people
Right,
that I
7 to the
that I have
7.
known in this movie.
Mike said 7.
These are the only 7 people I remember seeing in the car when they get out to argue about the tree. These are the only 7 people that I see.
Okay, so-
but somehow 2 people have died.
So
But they're not any of these people.
So in theory, we've put together several numbers. So I said at one point in time 4 and 4 in the car. And so if in theory that was correct, then Mike also noted he remembered one guy leaving. He was just killed outside. That would be correct. But I remember 3, at least 2 or 3. I thought there was a couple that left. The numbers are just not adding up.
Well, so now we have 9 established people because we have the girl that got turned into the zombie, the guy that got buried in his own grave, and the remaining 7 people.
And
so we have 9 people.
So, and let's also talk about one of the plot points of this film. Mansion Creep highlights he needs to consume, I would assume, the souls, whatever. He's not.
Well,
he's not.
Does he mention, or is it only mentioned in the synopsis? Because I don't remember him specifying.
No.
what he's doing
He
at
says
all.
as they're entering the mansion. Like, so in many ways, Mansion Creep is a total loser, and in other ways, love some of his dialogue because, especially when he's working the Ouija board, like, will we ever leave? No. Like, will I see this person again? Nope. Like, he's just kind of flippant with his answers, but he does in some narration. So they're like walking to the mansion. He's like, finally, and he's talking to, Nightcrawler, Dancing Monkey. Finally, the 5 souls will be consumed forever and always. He does narrate this, and he does say it at the end of the movie. I needed to consume 5 souls. Mike, again, is correct. We're consuming souls I mean, I don't blame him if, like, you just need 5 and it's random, like, come on in, like this is Big Trouble in Little China. Like, I need a woman with green eyes. I need 1, I need 2. Things could go wrong. I'm playing my odds. I am down with Mansion Creep with this because I need 5, but we might have 20. Billy's down. I don't know who else is down.
Yeah, no one does.
Who cares? But yeah,
it's all
Mansion Creep doesn't give a shit.
No, it's all a wild card now. Shit, I have no idea where I am. Okay, yeah. So the guy gets buried alive. Oh, my page is wrong. The guy gets buried alive, and then everyone runs back into the house.
Yeah, or some. We don't know who stayed in the house versus who went out.
But now like everyone's back in the house. Zombies are coming. They're popping out of the ground.
Yeah, I know here they look like woodsy swamp things.
Yeah, and they shut the door and they're all in like the lobby of this house. And they're fucking arguing because that's all these idiots do. And then they make the classic decision to split up.
Yeah. Hear me out. I could understand splitting up with maybe 2 groups of 3 and kind of within reason, like a couple rooms or whatever. And Mike is correct. No, we're going to do 3 groups of 2. And this is a huge mansion. Like, I mean, I am considering like 3 go one way, 3 go another, and do kind of circles. Because like there's probably like, I don't know, 14, rooms per floor. I have no idea. but they're all like, I'm gonna go to the basement, I'm gonna do the middle floor, I'm gonna go upstairs. Like, hell, well, why are you even going upstairs? Why are you ever going upstairs like that? I don't know.
No,
I would also be finding anything for a weapon, a lamp, anything.
So, I mean, I'm sure we'll elaborate more, but basically, so we are now, I know we've been talking for like 40 fucking minutes. We have covered 12 minutes of this film. I think that's probably pretty accurate.
It speeds up.
But, well, yeah, but so the next hour of this movie is basically just cutting back and forth between
Mansion
these groups
creep?
of people and mansion creep. The groups of people going into various rooms, having a small argument about something, and then cutting over to someone else. Like, nothing really happens for the rest of this movie until the end. There's just a lot of there's a lot of dead weight. But let's get into one of those scenes of dead weight. The first scene we highlight.
A lot of Duke.
Yeah, we get a Duke scene. Him and his titty girlfriend. They fall down some stairs. They like walk through a door, fall down some stairs.
Yeah, the board game that I referenced earlier, this is like one of the cards you could play. This is like crazy. Like, I swear to God, this board game might be. Never mind. Rabbit Troop Sucks has been brought to you by that board game.
Yeah, sponsorship opportunity, whatever this board game is.
But Mike, this is one of the scenes. Also, another wisp of an idea. This guy Duke is a total jackass. He's kind of like really rude to his girlfriend. He's rude to everyone else. He's rude to like all people considered all throughout this film. But when it comes to kind of defending his girlfriend, this dude is all in. I will 100% give it to him, because they get to this basement. I can't remember what happens. She's like, oh, he chugs some weird wine. He's like, oh, it's gross, it's spoiled. And there's all these vats or the barrels of wine behind them. Just note that, because liquid is important. She says something like, I think I'm gonna rest here, and like leans against a wall. And then
rest here. She's laying on the ground.
But then doesn't she lean against the wall and zombies come out of the wall?
No, well, I don't know. This is where like all the weird farting swamp things come out.
Oh yeah, we go back to Girl Witch. She's just in control of this Ouija board now.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna turn on like zombie room.
Right.
And then, like, or maybe this is, I don't know, mansion creep. One of them. There's
Well,
two
yeah,
people
it
like
doesn't fucking matter,
yeah. There's
but-
two people with like controls to the mansion, and it's Witch Girl and Mansion Creep.
Right, but all these, and this is one of the pieces of trivia, like, someone was like, let's make these monsters have farting sounds. And everyone was like, that's a stupid idea. But they're like, no, we're going to do it.
And it goes on for minutes.
No, it's like,
constantly.
yeah, like, and it's not subtle. It's like, I mean, I'm going to do it into the microphone, and it's probably going to be grosser than you want it to be. But like, these things come out of the ground, and they look
like a
like
private parts moment.
yeah, kind of. They look like weird swamp things, and there's probably like 6 or 7 of them. And like, they're just like bumbling around, smacking things like,
Yeah, constantly.
right, like, and it is a 3 to 4 minute scene of fart noises, and there is no reason for it. But then Duke realizes that they can't get wet, and that's for whatever reason. So he's like, "Hey, girlfriend, crack open the wine thing," and then they
Right, but also like before we learn that they like can't like be in water, etc. This is one of my turning points for Duke. So he's kind of like there's, I don't know, a handful of these like kind of like big old like mummies coming out, and the size is kind of big. So he's like fighting one, and one like basically throws him against a wall, and he gets up and just beats the piss out of this mummy.
yeah,
like,
Duke likes to brawl.
yeah, so I was like, this is kind of a weird turning point. Like, this guy's gonna beat his way out of this room, and does. And he's like, hit those wine barrels. They can't, like stand in liquid. It's the water. And his girlfriend does, but he is just swinging away and just beating the crap out of these people. I was like, all right, maybe I don't like this guy, but I might want him on my team to get the hell out of this haunted mansion.
Yeah. So my notes get really sketchy here because I was kind of checking out of this movie.
Sure.
We have several scenes like back and forth between the various couples walking around. They're getting scared by something that isn't really a thing. They're arguing a little bit. I keep saying arguing, but like that is literally all these people do in this movie is argue with each other.
Yeah, they're not the couples arguing, it's the drunky puppet guy just talking silliness to himself.
Right, yeah, he's like goofing around.
Right, and like again, like could you have like a comedic backdrop in all of this, like some weird dude, like the guy in The Mummy, like it's kind of serious, but like you don't really like and then he dies, and then you take his gold, like it's all fun and games.
Right.
Like there's a wisp of a thought, this guy is just terrible, like there's nothing likable about this guy whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I mean he's a douchebag. The next main scene that I actually have written down is we're back. So one of the couples stayed in the lobby. It's who I refer to as members only in the Brit, because the guy's wearing a members only jacket and the woman has a British accent.
Yeah, I did a hybrid, educated Brit, because she's like, where are all the things? And she's always smoking. Like, she's always smoking long cigarettes and demanding things like
things that like no one is going to get.
Yeah,
her.
it's like a really negative British stereotype. Like, this woman came in and she might like have like an expanded vocabulary, but she's just going to be like giving everyone orders. Like, I don't know where any of this came from. Her character is completely undefined and unlikable throughout all of this.
Right. Well,
and her counterpart is what I labeled as B-side Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah, he does talk like Gilbert Godfrey. But they're arguing in the lobby because they've stayed behind. I keep saying lobby, foyer, like great room, whatever the fuck. If you have a house that's bigger than normal, like this is where you walk into it. They get attacked by gargoyles for some reason.
Yeah.
Because which person controlling the Ouija board turns on the gargoyle button. And they're like weird, like Swamp Thing gargoyles. They have like Abe Sapien ears.
Yeah, and we don't really know that he's already been attacked. Like, he was kind of an established character. He doesn't really say anything of consequence. And she basically is like, oh, half his face is gone. Whoops.
Yeah.
I will highlight at first, she kind of like gives kind of a good fight, because she's like freaked out. I would be too. Like, what the hell is this? But she kind of gets into beating the crap out of these gargoyles. She's throwing
doing
furniture on top of them. She's throwing fists. Then it just seems she kind of gives up. Like, at some point in time, she's like, too many gargoyles. The worst.
Yeah.
Too many puppies, too many gargoyles.
Too many puppies and gargoyles. Now, this is where I think, according to my notes, we first understand what this fucking sorcerer is doing. He's trying to bring back his wife from the dead, but she's not dead. I don't know.
This is outside of the kid in the beginning. I'm not blaming the actor, just the terrible story that
You
wrote
can
that
blame
dude off.
both.
I guess. I mean, they just wrote that kid off. The only character I care about in this movie is this, like creepers, mansion creeps bride, because she kind of comes in and out of consciousness. She's like in some kind of like suspended animation. She's not aging. Like, we don't know what the hell's going on.
No one knows.
Like, he's aged. And it's apparent that over 70 years, he keeps trying to resurrect her. The only reason I like this character, she wants nothing to do with it. She's like, you're such a creep, dude. Like, every which way. She's like, nope.
Yeah, he's like, I'm bringing you back to life.
Yeah, no.
And she's like, don't touch me. I've always fucking hated you.
Yeah, she is not holding back. It's
Right.
not like, maybe I'll be nice and escape. It's just every which way. Like, you are terrible, dude. Like, we could always love each other. No.
No.
Yeah, but like one day, Albert, nope. Like, and she even says later, like, I poisoned myself and killed myself before. I'll do it again.
Right.
You're just the worst. And her conviction in the film, I'm like, all right. Like, Mansion Creep does suck. He does have some wit that I like, because everyone sucks more in this movie. But his bride to be, no. Yeah, she.
No. Yeah, like over the past, several decades, she is just killing herself over and over again to not have to be with this jackass.
to stick it to Mansion Creep.
But yeah, he's like, but what about our children? She's like, we don't have any children. He's like, no, we have many children. Take a look at our son. And I think it's the original werewolf kid. It's not Billy yet, is it?
No. There are two things happening. There's werewolf Nightcrawler. Uh-huh. There's also Blue Jawa. And Blue Jawa is
that's Billy.
No, there's a hooded little creature.
That's Billy.
That's Billy that comes back?
Yeah.
He immediately becomes that dude's
Correct,
son?
yeah.
This movie's worse. This movie is worse
I
than
mean, I might be
expected.
wrong, but what I inferred
I'm going to
is
look
that,
this up. You keep talking
Okay.
about summary, and I need to know. If what Mike is telling me is correct, this movie is infinitely worse than I thought.
That's what made you realize this movie. Okay.
This movie tipped it over.
Right.
For that moment.
So yeah, like that conflict is over. The British woman's been killed by some kind of goo monster with tentacles. And now we have the bride. She just fucking gets out of there. She's like, I don't want to deal with my fucking creepy kids.
Oh my God, Mike, you were incorrect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Billy, and then there's also I am guessing from this that Creon is mansion creep. I mean, can maybe that be? So we have Billy listed as one actor. Then we have son of Creon and Isabelle as someone else.
Just the fact that it was played by different actors in this movie does not.
Oh, I mean that
it is not the same character.
Yeah, that. Okay, if that is the case, we now have different actors doing different things. Mike is absolutely correct. I did think they were different people because I did think for some reason little Jawa hoodie guy was running around like simultaneously to Billy just being like buried alive. I mean, Mike could be correct.
I thought that. It doesn't fucking matter.
Rabbit Troop listeners, this is why you should write us to correct us and put us in our place.
Someone tell us what the fuck is going on in this movie.
Please, in friendly terms. What's this isn't Reddit. Like I don't need people to make me feel worse in my life than any of us ever feel. So take that. But if you were like, oh my god, it was blank, or I'm the actor that played Billy. Damn it, you should reach out to us because do you live up the street? Do I know you? Let's talk about this.
Also, if misunderstanding Spookies affects your quality of life, you should read.
I mean, if you were a child actor in this film, I mean, I'm misunderstanding everything going forward. Like, this movie should be giving you extra money for the therapy you deserve.
Yeah. So. Okay, yeah, but so the bride, she runs off, and she's like running through some weird catacombs, and she's being pursued by some kind of weird ghoul grandmother person.
There's several,
and I don't know what the fuck this thing was.
It looks like when the Gremlins turn like evil, like not like the cutesy Mogwai, where they turn evil, but if they were like albino and had like super long hair and have been living in a cave for the last 50 years, they're like meh. And that I believe is going to be the image we upload. So on some of the podcasts that are apps that you're using, you might see the image, but. I could not stop laughing when I saw this.
This was bizarre. Yeah, so fuck, bro, I don't even know. Now, so
we broke Mike. Spookies broke Mike.
Yeah, no, this movie this is fucking sucks.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah, God. So now we're back to like the arguing couples, and Duke and his girlfriend run back in. They run into like the father guy who looks like he's 75, but he's not, and his girlfriend,
Duke's dad,
Duke's
older
whatever.
Uncle is cool.
And for whatever reason, they get into a fight, and they're just like beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, they really do, because like I believe Duke just makeup and all. It looks like he just gets pounded in the eye. I mean, it is huge.
They both look shitty. They're beating the shit out of each other. And there's one moment where they cut to the two girlfriends who just look at each other and go, "We've got to stop them," and then do not do anything.
No, they do not.
But for some reason, the room that they're fighting in has a horrifying Grim Reaper statue in it.
I note that it looks like it comes right out of page 1 of Spirit Halloween.
Oh, what I had written down was that it looks like the ghost of Christmas Future from Scrooged.
Well, that's what I mean. Mike and I are both accurate,
and we're describing the same thing.
Yeah, it is. So, imagine if you're watching Scrooged with Bill Murray, that the ghost of Christmas Future comes out, and you're talking about not the one that he encounters, but like the stagehand in the elevator. Yeah. So imagine that. But I think there's like a purple sparkly vest on this thing. There's like a little bit of sparkle.
All of the monsters in this are wearing vests.
That's why I know it's Spirit Halloween. And if Spirit Halloween wants to reach out to us and sponsor us, I will wear a cape or a cloak in the privacy of my house while I podcast for one episode. So Spirit Halloween, your move. Mike is looking at me and my side eye like he will not participate.
No, I'll wear whatever plastic trash bag with a cartoon character that you give me. I just really wanted to make a joke about a cloak really bad, but I'm not going to.
Fair.
But this fucking thing comes to life. The statue comes to life, and it starts like scything, is that okay? Thank you. Scything around, and everyone's freaking the fuck out. And this is where we get the moment that Paul was alluding to earlier.
Old man pulls a move that, how bad this movie is, there's one moment that just needs to be seen by all horror fans, stunt fans of the obscure. This guy, or the Grim Reaper, is all sweeping around, and they're locked in a room with a, I would say, 2-inch if not more, wooden door. So wooden of some sort. And the old man has an all or nothing move and jumps, I think, like off a coffee table,
Right.
or he gets like a little boost off some piece of furniture and just dives through the wooden door
Head first.
head first. And it is the most glorious thing you could ever imagine
It's
in your
pretty
life.
good.
Like, it is clear that a stuntman jumped through a door, and so much for me could be forgiven in this film for how amazing this one scene is. And I am not going to ever say, like, outside of those 6 or 7 minutes and those wisps that I've noted, that this movie is good. But holy God, Mike, that scene is so
No,
incredible.
it's amazing. Yeah. He jumps through the fucking door and he gets right the fuck out of there.
I wrote wooden door, right through it, right through a wooden door. Those are my notes.
Well, and, not to derail this too much, but like this is an old house. Paul and I are sitting in Paul's house is this is like 100-year-old house.
Yeah.
My house is also
Don't
like,
spooky us, house.
is like
We love you.
110 years old. I have a couple original doors in there. They're thick. They're thick doors. I don't think you could jump through it, but fuck it all, he does.
I mean, so I'm thinking the same. Like, we have some of these doors internally in our house, and I'm like, could you do it?
No, you could not. You 100% could not. You would break your goddamn neck before you got through that door.
I feel like the wood is older, and
No,
this
it
probably
doesn't
even
matter.
older. It just
No, you're not.
Well, how about this? And this is what's the glorious thing. Like, could you? Mike is absolutely correct, but one in maybe 100,000 incidents of this trying to happen, this effing works for this dude. That's why it's glorious. Like,
Yeah,
this guy's like, I have no other option. It is 1 to 100,000, and he pulls it off. It's like you were standing next to Charlie, and he got the golden ticket,
Yeah.
and you were there. You're like, damn, dude.
It's a Hail Mary. He goes for it.
God, does he?
Okay, well now let's shift gears a little bit because now we get back to the guy with the puppet.
Wait.
Oh.
Boy, Reaper also takes out Duke.
Yeah, he takes out Duke.
And I didn't really like how Duke went out. As I said, like, he kind of turned around for me. He at least should have put up a fight. But the Reaper, I didn't even know Duke was dead. It was swip. I thought he cut him, but apparently he's dead, or they left him for dead.
If he's not dead, he is not seen in the rest of this
Nope.
movie.
Yeah,
which
and
it doesn't necessarily mean anything.
It was awesome, and is also so when the old man jumps through the door, the two women are like, "Okay, now we have a hole to go through the door," and they use it, which
Yeah.
is again plus for everyone.
Yeah, no, it worked out well. But yes, okay. So can we talk about Puppet Guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we find him again. We haven't seen him for a minute.
We didn't need to see him. Every scene with this guy could have been cut.
No, he's fucking stupid. He's down in like some weird spiderweb catacomb, and like there's this like sexy-eyed lady who's like, "I'm trapped too. I don't know what I'm talking about." I mean, is that like not really inaccurate?
Oh yeah. I mean, this guy is like insta seduced. It's
Right. He's like, "Oh, but I'm scared."
come with me. Like,
oh,
I'm in a haunted
okay.
mansion, and you're a dude with a puppet. But I'm like a half naked woman, and like there's a bunch of spider webs everywhere,
Right.
and a bunch of weird like like smoke and gas, but like whatever.
And then a spider just jumps right onto his face.
and not just any spider.
It's a gigantic spider.
It is like 2.5 feet, and it is just nibbling on
Right.
his shoulder blade.
He beats that thing off with both hands.
He does it,
and
and then knocks himself back into a spider web.
knocks himself back into a spider web, and then like the sexy-eyed lady turns into a big gross spider.
Yeah, and it takes forever. And
No, yeah, it takes way too fucking
So I
long.
even write like she turns into something like, and then
Right,
over
yeah.
the like 3 to 5 minutes, it's like it looks like an alien or
'cause,
head splitting.
Like you assume she's going to turn into a spider, but she turns into a thing that looks not like a spider.
yeah,
And
it,
you're like,
it
"What the
turns
fuck is
into
this?"
like some weird head split
ogre.
alien.
Yeah, who the fuck knows? But then eventually it's like, oh, that's supposed to be a spider.
Yeah, he's dead. Like that's pretty much it. Like she then turns into a spider, eats him, and he's dead. And I think we're done with him. Because
Yeah.
now we're back on a rooftop. The three that are left, the what we have labeled as old man and the two women, Duke's. Oh well, the old man, his girlfriend or his date,
Right.
And then Duke's girlfriend.
Yeah, 'cause
they're like battling on like the
They're
balcony
running.
rooftop.
They're running away from the Grim Reaper thing.
Yeah.
And the sport coat guy, the father. I don't know. We all there's like
And
70.
daddy?
Daddy boy. He's like tussling with this thing.
Well, it was
and-
kind of awesome. Like, I mean, I like this guy too for a moment. He's like, screw it. He tells the women to like run back, and he's like, and he like lunges at the Grim Reaper, takes his like scythe, and then just kind of like punches him right off a roof.
Right.
And then
He fucking explodes.
the Grim Reaper falls off the roof, and just like straight up explodes. Like a pile of TNT went off. Like I don't understand all the things about the supernatural. I do like to research it, but I didn't know that was what happens when you fight a Grim Reaper.
No, they explode when they hit the ground.
I didn't know we were playing Castlevania rules.
Yeah. So they go back. Yeah, these three go back inside.
Damn it! Stop going back inside.
I know they're like a couple floors up. I would have jumped off this fucking roof.
Damn right. Like, so also note, like,
that's what someone does in a little bit, and it works.
Well, yes, the bride to be in white has totally escaped. These 4 people, the 3 that are left of this group of 20 or whatever that arrived in their clown car, who knows? But like, the bride to be is like gone. Like, it was I don't have time for this crap.
Yeah,
so like jumping off rooftops and through the over bush and like.
Well, that's kind of the last scene of the movie. So we'll get to that in a second. There's a few. I don't know why I care, because none of this is important or makes sense. But the trio that just killed the Grim Reaper, they go back inside. There's a totally inconsequential scene that I'm going to bring up where Duke's girlfriend like spills a vat of acid and it like melts a statue for some reason.
Yeah, and they're like, that's not acid. Not acid that we know.
Yeah, not any kind we know of. Like, she's a fucking acid expert all of a sudden. Like, humans don't have this kind. No human could have stacked books like this. Which is something that lives with me always. Now we go back to like the fucking sorcerer, and they're talking about killing, and like the sorcerer goes to the little kid that I thought was Billy, but it's apparently not.
Or maybe
who the fuck knows? Is like, are you ready to kill? And the thing's like, yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to imbue you with this power. Like,
right.
I don't understand any of these powers.
No one does.
And also still, Witch Girl is going like bonks on that Ouija board.
She's back on the Ouija board, but right now, for some reason, she's talking like a Decepticon.
I wrote Nazi Transformer.
Okay, perfect.
It's super, like her voice now changes.
I mean, I can't even do it.
It's like short-waved, short-circuited audio.
It's like she's talking through a fucking speak and spell.
But she also has like this like this very Germanic accent, like highlighting like the highs and lows of the English language. It's super weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. So she's doing this, and her fucking head splits open, and light comes out, and the 3 people, the sport coat, Duke's girlfriend, another girl, they all start getting old.
Yes, and. So this is what I don't fully understand. So what it was a mansion creep.
Yeah.
Mansion creep is telling his son, who may or may not be Billy, we don't need this witch anymore. And I think it's Carol.
Yeah.
We don't need her.
Carol. That's
these could be your playthings. Like we don't need her. You've now been trained. You go finish them off. But she kills them. She
turns them old. The music in this scene is like when you die in Final Fantasy VII.
Right. I noticed that they really started kicking up. Like there's like a hardcore like drum. Like,
yeah, it's really weird. But also the bride of the sorcerer is back with the sorcerer for some reason. I don't know why.
No, I could get us there.
Okay,
so
talk me through it.
One of many things I don't understand to finalize this is Mansion Creep basically is telling his son, you've been trained. Go kill these people. We don't need this, this witch, this as I noted, witch girl anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So Mansion Creep kills her. So Witch Girl is dead. But
that's the Ouija board girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
But after he told this to his son, so I don't know like the son's all about. So then Mansion Creep, off camera, just like leaves and goes down like his escalator, which I imagine is Big Trouble in Little China, like just highlighters and like that like that neon circuit of like pink and a big skull, which you have in a Chinese underground of triad and supernatural entities. Side note, but he just goes outside, and the bride to be is stumbling through the gardens. Like she breaks away from those.
No, she stabs him in the fucking head.
No, not yet. You asked her like, how do they meet? Like they just get together. he somehow goes to these gardens outside, which is like a very Dracula moment, like Gary Oldman's Dracula.
Oh yeah, they're in like some kind of weird.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, you're here," and he's like, "Oh yes, I was always there." And then Mike is correct. She's like, "Oh, I'm super into you." He's like, "I always knew that'd be the case." Again, this is why I like Bride to Be. She's like, "Yes, yes," and just takes a knife and stabs him right in the forehead, right there.
So yeah, she stabs him in the fucking head, so this is why I was confused, because like it looks like they're in a garden, but then when she runs off and escapes, she is now like on the 4th story of this house.
That's what I also noted. I was like, is she going over a fence? Is she like she's scaling out? Like I don't
she slides down a fucking tree. She's on the same like roof that the other 3 were on when they were battling the goddamn.
So there's one of several things that is happening that she was on. Like if you play video games, you're on like level 3 garden floor.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, weird. I don't think that was it. I totally agree with Mike. She was on what I assumed was a garden level, like not outside, or I'm sorry, outside, not inside, bare bones. She got circled around like a cemetery or a cave or something. He went outside. I totally agree with Mike. What the hell is she scaling down?
Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter.
But it was like super jarring because I'm also writing these notes. I'm like, where is she now?
Yeah,
like, is that a cliff?
She slides down a tree and she's escaping. But now we got all the Spookies. The Spookies are coming out of the ground. They're coming out of the woodworking. We have this was the longest scene of my fucking life, because it was her like tussling, like squirming on the ground, like trying to free herself from these grabby, like thriller video extras, and it went on honestly for 3 hours.
Yeah, so a couple things that I've noted here. That one, like I remember being in preschool and you play like Snake in the Garden, and like someone's it, and when they touch you, you're a snake, and then they have to touch each other, and then she's running through this, and like the floor is wavy, like I'm in some kind of gym class, because that's what it looks like. I feel there are also 2 very distinctively different cameras that are happening. One camera view, I'm like, wow, they did kind of like a good job at encompassing that she is surrounded by, it looks like hundreds of zombies.
Yeah.
And then at one point in time, they do a bird's eye view, and it looks like she's surrounded by 12 zombies.
Right.
I'm like, this is not as bad as I thought. Like, you're done. And I was like, maybe you're not. So she on 2 occasions gets, Mike is totally correct. This scene goes on forever. On 2 different occasions, she is overrun and pinned down by zombies and rolls her way out. One of them, you're like, interesting, because she kind of like rolls down something and it kind of breaks free. And another time, it just, I don't know, rolls away. She just rolls away.
Right.
and then runs off.
Yeah. So, so she runs. So I'm going to backtrack a second. Sort of one of the pieces of trivia that I read was, I don't know which actress it is, but there was one actress in this movie who did nude scenes in every single movie that she was in, except for this one, because they wouldn't pay her enough. Is this that person?
I have no idea. I don't know that at all.
Okay, it was one of the IMDb pieces of trivia. I don't care enough to look it up again. But yeah, it was like this woman like was famous, or quote unquote famous, for doing nude scenes in all of her movies, but they wouldn't give her enough money to do it in this one. And I'm guessing it's this, because like the scene, she is getting her clothing ripped the fuck off.
It's
but yeah, you're right. So like she eventually like she rolls, she tucks and rolls out of the way, and then you think she's like, okay, she's getting away, but then she doesn't. Then there's like more Spookies coming out of the trees, and like there's another way too long like untangling from the Spookies scenes.
Yeah, there's one imagery, or one point of imagery, that we didn't know going into this. It was very quickly at the beginning.
Are you going to talk about that fucking gravestone that's like rippling like water?
Yeah, there's this huge slab of concrete. There's a gravestone that's like jumping up and down, just like Mike said, rippling like water, and it's chained shut.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about this, because they make
because they don't mention it again.
Yeah, they make a real to-do about it,
right,
like at the beginning of the film, like, you're going to see it like 3 times.
Well, I mean, this is literally the first 30 seconds of the movie that you see it, and then you do not see it again until right now.
Oh, correct.
Yeah, so she escapes yet again, and she runs and she finds a car and she jumps into it.
And this is where I noted, like, who is this guy? So
Yeah.
she has been asleep for 70 plus years. She clearly has no idea what a car is. And I buy it enough because at first I was like, is she about to start this car? This is insane. Like, you have no idea what this is. But she's looking around like she jumped into something.
Right. And she's trying to figure it out. And then the owner of the car's like, bitch, get out of my car.
So who the hell is this guy? Was this guy from before?
What? I mean, I think it was just a guy in a random car. But then he sees the Spookies. He's like, oh, fuck, there's fucking Spookies.
But
and he gets in the car and starts it. And she's like, we got to get the fuck out of here. He's
he
fuck
says,
right.
Get away from my car. And he
Yeah.
starts it and drives off. And this is what I noted to Mike. So the question is, was this one of the weird dudes in the beginning? Because, yeah, you're like, who is this? And Mike is saying, like, he could be random.
Who the fuck knows?
But then they get down the road and he's like, ha, ha, ha.
Oh, yeah,
I'm one of the Spookies.
Well, no, I thought it was young, the sorcerer.
I thought that guy was possessing a body of someone else. Oh, so many questions.
Well, we didn't bring this up. The sorcerer is clearly a young actor wearing terrible prosthetic makeup.
Oh, yes.
It is
that poor guy.
It is not an old man. So the guy driving the car is, at least from what I could tell, the guy playing the sorcerer, but without the terrible makeup on. And he's that's what I thought.
I was like, maybe that was the guy buried earlier, not the kid.
Who the fuck knows?
Sure.
But he's like, it's me, bitch.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
And then we pan to that slab that we forgot to mention to you, that concrete slab, that gravestone, and it bursts open.
Right.
We see one more, like, a little blue Jawa. Oh, the blue Jawa is laughing. He's like, yeah. And then I think we see Nightcrawler, and he's like, yay.
Yeah, he's clapping, and then
the slab opens up, and the version of the old man,
Right.
a mansion creep,
he just like
bursts out and freeze frame, and that's the end.
Well,
of the movie.
he bursts up. It's like I
did it.
I mean, this is something that will probably only make sense to Paul, but it's like from Dumb and Dumber, like, oh, like he just like a 90-degree angle swing up.
Yes, and it does make sense,
right? And then the movie ends, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then so out of almost anger, my last comment is, I can't even read some of my handwriting.
No one can. I don't.
I think what I was trying to highlight was, I don't fully understand what this movie was about. I think it was just about an old man trying to go outside.
Yeah, it was actually like a very heart-wrenching tale about a man with agoraphobia.
He did it.
Yeah, and
he finally did it. Like, this is the Munsters character you didn't know you were aware of, the agoraphobic.
Right, that was his triumphant.
Uncle.
He's like, I'm finally outside.
I could go.
Bitch stabbed me in the head, but I'm outside.
Like, they try to put me down, but you know what? Hashtag, you could do it too.
Yeah, so
you only live once.
Well, I mean, not if you're his wife. She lives a few times.
Well, so
wow, we made it.
We never also know, like, fully what happens to her, and she's maybe like doomed to repeat this existence every maybe 70 years.
Yeah, that's not really. Oh, there was. Again, this is completely inconsequential, but there was one point during the couple arguing throughout the house scene where they find like a hung corpse, like hang.
Yeah, that was the old man.
Not like with a big penis.
They're in the attic.
Yeah,
there was like a suicide note.
It was a suicide note. It's like, this fucking sucks. I can't do this. But like, it was basically what I inferred from it is that like that was a previous generation of trapped people. Who someone was like, I'm going to kill myself rather than get spookied.
Ooh, Mike, I'm going to throw this out.
Ooh.
Not that it's going to redeem this film at all.
No, nothing can.
That might have been one of the versions of The Bride.
It maybe, yeah,
right?
that could very well.
Like, wow, like, again, many things could have assembled this movie infinitely better than what this movie and this crew did.
Well,
I mean, it was very clear. Like, at the end, like, people were trying to piecemeal this together, and I mean, I guess I would be happy if I was an actor and they were like, hey, like, we just spent 3 months doing this. You need something to like go off of and tell other people. And I'd be like, please do this. But like the end result was this probably ruined many people's careers.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I know that this was the opening of this podcast where we talked about how this was originally shot as one movie and then that got scrapped. And then they shot a second movie with different actors and spliced it together into one thing. So we're talking about these characters, some of these characters are legitimately played by by multiple people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, anything that's going on, you have to take with a grain of salt. I mean, if this, I know this episode may seem a little bit more chaotic than most. This movie is
So is this movie.
This movie is fucking bananas. It is clear when you're watching it. This is two movies spliced together not particularly well to create an end result that does not make any sense. And that's why I think so. I'm going to jump the gun here a little bit. I think everyone should watch this. I mean, I know I've been shit talking this movie the whole time, even when Paul was trying to like create redeemable things that I was shitting on. I think everyone should see this.
I wish you could all watch a series of YouTube clips that we could assemble that we will never spend the time doing.
No, I don't have time for this.
But someone jumping through a door is honestly something I have thought about maybe once a week for multiple weeks per months to years that I've known Mike. That when we saw this movie, I just think you could always try to jump through a door. That's always an option. The first
that's your Hail Mary out.
6 to 7 minutes, as I said, gushing over Are You Afraid of the Dark? For all of you Are You Afraid of the Dark fans out there, if you ever write just me personally, I will talk about Are You Afraid of the Dark from now until I die. So one of my favorite shows. That reminiscent moment is just short-lived. Mike's right. Like, it's really fun. I would recommend this movie just like
No, I didn't say it was really fun. It is not fun.
It's confusing fun. Mike and I watched this and we had fun. I mean, I think we had fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first time we saw it, I definitely had fun because I didn't know what we were getting into. And the whole time you and I were just like, what the fuck is happening?
I still think that.
Well, yeah, I mean, watching it tonight, this was the second time I've ever seen this movie.
Myself included.
It was less fun because obviously we're taking notes and we're trying to come up with like jokes to tell.
This movie actually is almost the record of how many notes I have. And I told Mike I actually stopped this movie just to take a quick break.
Yeah, you were editing your notes throughout.
There were so many people involved at the start of this film.
I gave up trying to
keep
track
I was just
of them.
like, I know Mike, like, and that's fine. Like, I know Mike sometimes like, I don't care. I'll like give, another moniker to another actor or like a kind of like a slang name or whatever. I totally get it, and I do the same. But this movie had so many people, and I thought they were different people, and maybe sometimes they were. Just like that kid. Was it Mansion Creep's kid? I don't know. But Mike, I don't want to go too far past this.
No.
This is our first into October Halloween themed sort of episode.
Yeah.
We noted before, and I'll start posting this online, and I know Mike will as well, that this would probably be the last episode, maybe one more I'll do it. I know we did it in the previous episode, that if there is a Halloween movie that any of you want us to review and we pick it, we have a little bit of merch, and we created some Rabbit Troop Sucks shot glasses. We'll free of charge send you one if you're in the United States of America. If not, you're going to have to give us a little bit of shipping. We don't have those kind of funds here at Rabbit Troop.
But yeah, if you recommend a movie and we end up picking it,
even later, we'll go send you something.
But like the first one we pick, we're not made of shot glasses here.
The first one for Halloween and maybe later in life. Yeah. That if you said something, we'll reach back out to you.
If you live in the continental 48. The shipping's on us. Hawaii and Alaska, you're paying for this, and the rest of the world.
What if it was a Hawaiian horror film that was awesome? Can they like double down and be like,
okay, I'll amend that. If you so for you non-continental United Statesers, if you recommend a movie from Alaska or Hawaii that's kind of like spooky and Halloween themed
and obscure or overlooked,
and fits with the theme, like no, I don't. Yeah,
let's talk.
Yeah, not like 40 Days a Night or any of that shit. I mean, that's a fine movie, but it doesn't fit with the theme. Nothing with Josh Hartnett in it. But if we pick that, we'll ship it to your weirdo state for free.
Heck yeah, and we want to do this all through October. So, I mean, trick or treat. So, I mean, we're clearly one of the reasons we started this podcast. I mean, we love sci-fi, we love horror, we love all these things. And it's never to just always make fun of films. It's just to really analyze some of them, and hopefully we find some awesome gems. So, we really would like to hear what you want to say. You could reach out to us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. You could directly go to rabbittroopsucks.com. You could hit us up on Instagram. You could go to our group on Facebook. You could probably find us in other ways as well.
Don't find us in other ways.
Yeah, please don't.
If I look out my window and you're fucking there clapping like the little wiener Jawa kid from this movie, I'm going to be upset with you.
I mean, if you do that and Mike tells me about that, I might have a different view, but please don't do that to me. So it goes all these ways. We're going to be looking at a lot of some upcoming awesome horror films. We'll have some guests along the way. We We really hope you have a great night. Thanks for listening to this. Put on a hoodie. Drink some kind of awesome drink that's warmed up. Have some pumpkin seeds. Do some kind of carving. Do some sort of decoration. Start it off. This is the best month and season of the year.
Yeah. Have something with like apple spice. So pumpkin spice, that's not for me. I think it sucks.
Nor I.
But if you like Uggs and like shitty clothing or whatever, pumpkin spice, maybe that's for you. That was mean spirited, I know, but like apple is the better false flavor.
Yeah, and if you're a Colorado company and you just want us to sample one beer each or some kind of drink, reach out to us. That'd be awesome. I would love to do that. That'd be killer.
Yeah, no, I mean, no one's going to do that, I don't think. But I would love that also. You should consider that.
Maybe someone just come to my house eventually and be like, I just feel bad for you. Here's a drink.
Yeah, I mean, if you like,
I'll recommend that
if you
drink.
have pity alcohol for us,
I'll
that's
rate
fine.
it, I should say. I'll rate that drink, and I'll give it some kind of recommendation. But
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Again, dress warm, have fun. As always, Rabbit Troop sucks.
Yeah, they do.
That's awful.
Okay.